Good morning, everyone. There's a guy who went to medical school and became a doctor, and then he decided he wants to go to rabbinical school and become a rabbi. Someone asked him, why did you decide to become a rabbi rather than a doctor? And he said, because I'd rather preach than practice. This week's Torah portion begins with seemingly the instruction to preach. The Torah says, Emor al Kohanim, say to the Kohanim, the sons of Aaron, the priests, V'amarta lahem, and say to them the laws of the Kohanim, to how to perform the responsibilities of a Kohen. So Rashi famously asks, why does it repeat itself in the opening verse? Say to the Kohanim, the sons of Aaron, and say unto them. And Rashi says, because there's a dual instruction here. First of all, teach the laws of Kohanim to Aaron himself, to the Kohanim. And then also, V'amarta alehem, secondly, they should repeat it then to their children, to transmit the laws to their children. And this is not just for Kohanim, but every Jew. We are all a nation of priests, of Kohanim, and we have to learn the laws of Judaism and the observances and the commandments, and then we have to transmit it and teach it to our children. But the question is, why does it say to the sons of Aaron, the Kohanim? We all know that the Kohanim are the sons of Aaron, and Aaron is a Kohen, so why does it have to say both? And perhaps the answer is that it's teaching us a fundamental rule in how to transmit it to the children. You know, when the Kohanim bless the Jewish people, they add one extra word to the blessing that you don't find by any other blessing. They say, you've commanded us to bless the nation of Israel, and then they call out the last word, be ahava, with love. When we put on tefillin or light Shabbat candles or put up a mezuzah, we also make a blessing. But we never add the word bi ahava. Only the Kohanim add the word bi ahava, with love. Why? Because the Kohen was a person who personified love. As it says in Ethics of Our Fathers, be like the students, be a disciple of Aaron the high priest. Ohev shalom, love peace, pursue peace. Ohev et habrit, love mankind. Be a lover of people. That's what Aaron was all about. And therefore the Torah is saying, when you transmit it to your children, make sure you do it with love. You know, when it comes to real estate, what's the three most important things? Location, location, location. When it comes to education, what are the three most important words? Love, love, love. First of all, your kids have to know you love them unconditionally. And everything you tell them is for their benefit, because you do it out of love. Even when you have to tell them something difficult that they may not want to hear. Even when you have to sometimes discipline your children, they should know you're always coming from a place of love. But furthermore, every time you teach them by example, an example of love. When you do a mitzvah, do it with joy, do it with love. If they feel your love of the mitzvah, of the good deed, they see when you help a poor person, you do it with joy and love, they'll want to do the same thing. When they see you go to shul with joy and love, they'll want to go to shul. But if they see you do it as a burden, as a difficulty, with no joy, with no love, then they would not want to emulate and follow in your ways. So remember to be like Aaron and perform your responsibilities and teach them only with love. They tell a story. There was this kid came into high school. First day of school, the teacher introduces himself and then starts the lesson, turns to the blackboard and starts writing on the blackboard. And all of a sudden, a paper airplane comes flying and hits the head of the teacher. Teacher turns around and says, who threw that airplane? And one kid starts laughing. Teacher said, did you throw the airplane at me? He said, yes. He says, come up here. The kid comes up, and the teacher says, if you're going to throw paper airplanes, at least know how to make a good paper airplane. And the teacher takes a piece of paper and shows the kid how to make a really good airplane, and then flies it across the room. He says, now that's the way you make a good paper airplane. Now go sit down. The kid sits down. And that was the end of it, no punishment. Many years later, after this teacher retired, he needed a doctor, a specialist, a top-notch specialist in Manhattan. And he gets an appointment with this specialist. And he comes into his office. The doctor says to him, do you remember me? He says, no, who are you? He says, I was your student in school, in high school. And he tells him his name, and he says, I remember you. You were a wonderful teacher. And he says, really, now I remember you. And then the doctor says, do you remember what happened on the first day of school? He says, no. And he tells him the story with the paper airplane. And the doctor says, I want to tell you something. I was not a good student. I wanted to drop out of school. And I fought with my parents. And my parents forced me to go back to school. And so I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to do something on the first day to get kicked out of school, to get expelled. And then my parents will have no choice but to let me drop out. So right when you started the first lesson, I threw this paper airplane at your head thinking, now I'll get expelled. When you called me up and I was expected to be thrown out, and you did what you did by saying, come, let me show you how to make a good airplane, I said, wow, I like this teacher. He's cool. He's nice. And I decided to take a liking to you and to what you were teaching. And I began a new trajectory in my life of studying properly and becoming studious. And I went on to become this prestigious doctor now, and it's all thanks to you. When we respond not with anger, not with resentment, but with love. And it's not only true with our children, in any relationship. Sometimes the natural instinct is to get angry and to be stern and to rebuke. But when we show love, like Aaron to his children, that's the way we transmit and influence others properly. Have a wonderful day.